Hubhopper Originals.
To start your podcast for free, log on to studio.hubhopper.com.
So, one of the really important topics that we are trying to target using our sales channels now is fat tax. It's
Okay.
a very big deal that now everybody is talking about, but we had this rule from day one that we would never do a differential pricing basis size.
Mm.
Because when I'm saying people need to feel included, that does not just mean having clothes made available to them that is available to somebody who is like a UK 8, but
Mm.
it's also about paying the same price. And honestly, it's not that tough to do because when I say we keep the pricing standard, we are averaging out the cost. And
Yeah.
if we as a new brand can do it, I do feel like every brand that is established can definitely like move towards that goal.
Hello and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast, where we share hot tips on how to do life and business without losing your mind. I'm your host, Savita Nanjappa, entrepreneur, high achieving 9 to 5er turned transformational success coach, helping you create a wildly successful business. Come hang out with me and other fabulous humans like you every week for stories and chats packed with a healthy dose of tips, resources, how-tos, and real talk. Side effects may include a happier and more confident you with each passing day. Hi, and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast. And joining me today is my guest, Akanksha Savanal, the founder of A Curve Story, who is a 26-year-old celebrity stylist with a unique vision to make fashion accessible, inclusive, and intersectional. She started her styling journey when she was just 18 and has worked with Bollywood fashion icons such as Ranveer Singh, Priyanka Chopra, Ayushmann Khurana, and others. As a stylist, Akanksha noticed that the average Indian woman and members of the LGBTQ plus community have limited options to wear their personality on their sleeve when they walk into a clothing store. Thus, her accessible and inclusive clothing brand A Curve Story was born in 2019. A Curve Story celebrates every body type and carries stylish outfits from sizes UK 8 to 30. Every outfit created by the brand focuses both on aesthetics and wearability. The latter is often overlooked by most existing clothing labels. A Curve Story stands for all things natural, being comfortable in your own skin, body positivity, and inclusivity. With her brand, Akanksha is on a mission to dismantle the ideal body type narrative that marginalizes people in bodies that deviate from the unrealistic standards set by society and the high fashion industry. Join us as I talk to Akanksha about her journey and her transition from styling to running her own fashion brand. Hi, and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast. Akanksha, welcome to the show. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation and to hearing everything about your journey. Fun fact, once upon a time when I was in college, I did like this 3-month course on fashion designing. Found out I'm really bad at sketching, so I quit it. So, welcome to the show, and I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad that my first podcast is with you. And I don't think you should have quit because I'm not great at sketching either. And I'm doing
Oh,
pretty okay. So I think this will be interesting.
but it was at that time, and this designer was teaching us, told us that, listen, if you can't sketch, you're going to be absolutely like, you can't do this. So we were really, me and there was another person who was bad at sketching. Finally we said, you know what, let's finish this 3 months, at least we'll get good clothes out of this probably. So that was our experience. With that, I want to dive right in because I have so many questions for you. And the first one is, walk us through your journey, how you got started in fashion. And it's very interesting, the transition that you made from styling to now running your own fashion brand.
So it actually, styling came by fluke to me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to be in fashion from around the age of 12. I
Wow.
wasn't too clear on what stream it would be. So I was pretty open to just kind of figuring it out, go with the flow. So just when I'd finished junior college, I had this conversation with my parents saying that fashion is what I wanted to do. And they were very proactive and supportive, and they said, sure, like, go look up courses and let's see what best works out. And I ended up signing up for a diploma in a college called SNDT in Mumbai, because it was a 1 year diploma that sort of dived into multiple aspects of fashion, because
Mhm.
I felt like that would give me enough clarity to maybe get to a point and decide what specific stream I wanted to eventually move into. And like you just said, when I was sketching or actually cutting patterns, I realized like that was fun, but that is not what I saw myself do for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And at that time, I did this, we had this subject called fashion coordination, which was kind of like putting these styling principles together. And that was
Mhm.
very interesting to me. I then happened to like speak to a family friend when I was trying to get clarity on what the next step could be. This was towards the end of my course, I think.
Mhm.
And they suggested that, styling would be a great stepping stone to sort of enter the industry, get that much needed exposure. Because I was just 18 at the time. So I was too
Mhm.
naive and I needed someone to like sort of guide me at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, 3 weeks in, I think I was working for one of Bombay's top stylists, and I got like an amazing opportunity to work with some of the best talents in the film and music industry in India. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's been an unforgettable experience. So, I mean, I did that for about close to 8 years before I decided that I wanted to move on to the next thing.
Mhm.
Strangely, I feel like life has come full circle, because I remember when at 12 I decided I wanted to do fashion. I just woke up one day and I said, at one point in my life, I'd like for it to be like a fashion house that I run.
Mm.
And I never ever went back to thinking about it. And now that I do, I realize I sort of maybe manifested it in hindsight. And styling was great. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was erratic hours, but the work gave such a high that I was okay to like put my sleep, food, personal life aside for it for years. There was
Mhm.
just one point, I think, that I hit around about 5 years back, where I felt like I didn't belong
Mhm.
in when it came to styling projects I was getting or the kind of work I was delivering. And that sort of pushed me to go deeper within and figure out what it is that was my purpose. And this idea had been sitting at the back of my head for almost 3 or 4 years then.
Okay.
And I realized that when I was styling, I had major like opportunities to be in stores and notice that there was a major vacuum that
Mm.
was never filled when it came to clothing options for curvy women or a representation for the pride community.
Mm.
And that's when I decided that I wanted to do something that specifically spoke for these people, but also made the quintessential normal body feel included as well. Because
Okay.
that was like one thing that I do feel, where when people what is so called plus size, I feel like they end up making people feel more isolated than included,
Mm.
because there's a different section for you, there's a different vertical for you on a website. What, like, it could just be one.
Mm.
And that is basically what I wanted to do with this brand. And that's how a curve story came into play. And I started working on this since 2017.
Okay.
And then we ended up going live in 2019, April. So it
Okay.
was 2 years of a lot of research and hiring the right people to just sort of put together the groundwork so that we would have it easier thereon.
Okay, nice. I mean, it's been quite a journey. And so just for the audience listening in, this time that when you were styling and you're talking about is some of the people that you've had the opportunity to style in your styling career have been people like, can you name a few?
Oh, yes, of course. So I had the opportunity to work with Ranveer Singh, Priyanka Chopra, Pariniti Chopra, Ayushmann,
Wow.
Sonakshi, a lot of people, actually, a lot of the Gen Z, and
Mm,
a lot of other actors as well on red carpet, movie promotions, editorial shoots. And
okay.
it was a really good experience, because I was just 18 when I started, and I think it came at the right time, because like it put my work ethic in place. Because there is a lot of respect for the work you do even in Bollywood. Like
Mm,
I've had the opportunity to work with people who've been really welcoming and warm towards you throughout the process of working with them, whether it was a one-day shoot or it was
mm,
40-day long promotions. You always went home feeling happy about the work you were putting out there,
yeah,
especially with Ranveer and Pariniti, because both of them were like a blank canvas when it came to a person like me who was a stylist,
mm,
because they gave you so much creative freedom to sort of style them the way you wanted. They would listen to like your narrative, and it was amazing. It was a really fun time.
of course, Ranveer's fashion sense is unmatched, I think, currently, and it's quirky and it's unique. But with that, moving on, what were some challenges? It must have not been easy for you to think about starting a fashion brand. It's not easy, right? I mean, so what were some challenges that you faced when you were about to start a curve story?
So if I'm being very honest, when I started, I didn't know that we would even make it this far. It
Mm,
was just that I don't know, somehow, like from the pit of my stomach, I found some like energy reservoir, I think, that I had saved up, where I felt like, okay, this is a risk that I can take and I
mm,
should take, because the movement that we're trying to create here is so much bigger than me, the brand, my team, or even the clothes we are designing. We are
mm,
genuinely trying to break like how the society tends to put people into boxes, and to
yeah.
actually enforce that normal is real.
Mm,
So I think the whole drive kind of came from what I was trying to like basically achieve at the end of the day.
yeah.
But if I'm being honest, it was not an easy journey.
Okay.
And but I will still say that it has been one of the most fulfilling journeys that I've been on. I don't think I'd have it any other way. Some of my challenges would definitely be that I did not go in for funding early on. So
Mm,
my company is entirely bootstrapped even today. And that meant that I had to hire the right team, hire
mm,
lesser people, people who did
mm,
more jobs, to also sort of get them believe in the vision, because at that time everything was on paper.
yeah.
Like none of that was real. In fact, like my first team member, who was my designer, she was not allowed to even tell her close circles what company she worked for 8 months, because my trademark wasn't done then.
Mm,
So it was some of these things, but it was also about being patient,
mm-hmm.
something that I truly lacked when I started on in this journey. And I
Okay.
feel like I've kind of mastered that by now.
Okay.
So that is something that I definitely feel like, has helped me be on this path and stick by the purpose, and always believe that something better is going to come my way.
Mm, okay. 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 So here I'm going to stop because something is clicking. Is it your
Oh,
hearing clicking on the?
mm,
Ah, okay. Now I'm right. Because when you're speaking, you moved, right? So
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Okay. So don't touch your hair now. Okay, moving. Um, so I mean, I hear what you're saying about challenges. And actually, my next question was going to be how easy or difficult it is. So the answer is difficult. Nothing ever is easy to start with. And you chose a very unique area to start with, I feel, at that time, 2019. Now, of course, it's more mainstream, more people are talking about it. So your brand is about being a brand for all sizes and inclusivity. What I know you shared that you used to go to all these stores and used to feel like, why should we have a different section? But what made you specifically start there? Like you could have started with having just the normal sizes and then adding on the curvier sizes. But what made you start with, from the get go, day one, focus on inclusivity and on having more sizes?
As a teen, I come from a very liberal Konkani family,
Okay.
and my family is very close knit.
Mm,
So as a teen, I used to go on these shopping trips with my cousins, and that time there were namely like two stores in Bombay that catered to sizes above like a basic XL.
mm,
And I used to actually see them struggle to find options that they loved. I never saw them go home happy as a customer with the clothes they bought. And that
mm,
used to really pinch me. I used to feel like it's very unfair that just because they're a different size and they're not that usual box that you're meant
Mm,
to fit in. They didn't have the opportunity to be able to shop or buy something that they genuinely felt happy about.
mm,
Even though you'll have the money, but what do you do with the money if the options are not available, right? So
yeah.
that's kind of where I think the seed was put into my mind. And
Mm-hmm.
then it just kind of grew more with like my styling experiences while I sourced and all of that.
Okay, great. So it was very personal to begin with. A lot of people, sometimes it's not personal, so they don't understand the journey or maybe those minute things that people face. And I do want to ask you this: has being a stylist influenced your designs today?
I think they have, because I do believe that styling is a tool that should be used to empower people to look their best,
Hmm.
because they are like certain principle or aesthetic rules that we kind of follow that
Hmm.
will help somebody highlight their best features.
Yeah.
That being, I mean, I do believe everybody's beautiful just as they are, but all of us do deal with body image and insecurities on some level.
Yeah.
So if you are able to highlight your best parts, you will always feel more confident, because
Hmm.
clothing is such an important tool when it comes to feeling confident, that does a lot of work for us on the outside.
Yeah.
So I did actually, one of the major things that we did before we launched was put together all that research when
Hmm.
we were coming up with our design base, to sort of have principles that worked right for people no matter what size they were.
Okay, great. And I wanted to ask you this. What are some so coming back to the styling conversation, again, fun fact, I also started my business journey being an image coach. So one of the things is also that I learned was also styling.
Oh,
um,
wow.
so yeah, sometimes you just have so many commonalities, and so I really understand when you're designing that, when you're thinking of real time what's happening on the ground with the customer. I'm sure like you're using all of that when you're putting together your design, so it's more um, appealing and also, I think, relatable to your audience, right? To your customer actually. So from there I wanted to ask you, what are some topics, because I've been looking at your feed and you've been talking about a lot of the topics around diversity and inclusion. So, what are some topics that you are keen to influence about the way people approach it?
So one of the really important topics that we are trying to target using our sales channels now is fat tax. It's
Okay.
a very big deal that now everybody's talking about, but we had this rule from day one that we would never do a differential pricing basis size.
Mm,
Because when I'm saying people need to feel included, that does not just mean having clothes made available to them that is available to somebody who is like a UK 8, but it's
mm,
also about paying the same price. And honestly, it's not that tough to do, because when I say we keep the pricing standard, we are averaging out the cost. And
yeah.
if we as a new brand can do it, I do feel like every brand that is established can definitely like move towards that goal. So
Mm.
fat tax is something that, we are putting up a very strong fight against.
And
Hello.
for our audience, can you explain fat tax for those who are
Yes.
hearing the
So
word right now?
yes, sorry, my bad.
No,
So
that's okay.
fat tax is basically when you are made to pay an additional cost, or sorry, fat tax is basically when you're made to pay an additional price for not
Hmm.
being their average size range. So
Okay.
if you are beyond, let's say, an XS to a double XL, if you're anyway outside that, you're made to pay extra, because what brands believe is that they require extra fabric. As
Mm,
much as that's true, I don't feel like a customer needs to be paying the price of it. It should be sort of taken into account when you are setting your selling price as a brand. So
mm,
that's definitely something that we're looking at achieving. As a brand, we're also trying to build gender fluid fashion. So anybody who associates as feminine or
mm,
associates with the kind of clothes we are designing, they are free to shop from us. We do offer discreet packaging for people who haven't come out yet. And I do feel like Pride also needs enough representation in India. That also
mm.
has been picking up. but we have a long way to go.
Sure.
So that is something that we're definitely looking at. And as a brand, our end goal, I think, is to empower and motivate every person who comes to us, whether it is on Instagram to just look at a post, to
Mm-hmm.
actually buy from us, or to attend an event that we may do. They should leave happier with their own self. It
Mm.
is about accepting your own self, and that comes when you're instilling confidence in yourself every day. It's a journey, right? None of us just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, I love every part of me." But at
Yeah.
least it's a journey. And if we start on that journey, I think we just get closer to the goal.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. Stay tuned as we take a quick break, and we'll see you on the other side of the show. Yeah, I love the mission of your brand. And I
Thank
think
you.
it's a great conversation that we all need to be having. And, the more awareness you bring about, the more people know, and the more accepting people, I think, are getting off. And understanding, I think that's more key, and empathetic, that we can't be having. And some things are so starkly wrong, like the fat tax. So I love the mission of your brand. And with that, I want to ask you this: what's next for A Curve Story?
So with the Curve story, we are in the pipeline of, sorry, a new collection is in the pipeline. That is something that we're definitely working on. As a brand, we're trying to do a lot of new things that otherwise aren't norms. So
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to like break out of that. We're trying to also host a couple of talks that pay attention to some conversations that just go missed, so
Mm,
that people start becoming more aware. They're able to choose for themselves, and they don't have to just follow the rat race.
mm,
So that is something that we're definitely working on. We have a couple of new verticals that we'll be launching over the next few months. And yeah, like I think I've been really blessed with the right kind of team that
mm,
is so aligned with the vision of where I want to take this,
mm.
that it really helps us. It saves me a lot of time when it comes to day-to-day tasks, because they are just on the same page, and they are just as like motivated and like convinced that they'll be able to bring about this change on their level and the departments that they handle.
Yeah.
So I think, like, that is something that we definitely look forward to. Like, we want to change how curve or inclusive fashion really is perceived in India, and that has
Mm,
to be done from ground up.
yeah.
So, I mean, just having these meaningful conversations is one way of doing it. For us, of course, clothing is our primary tool to do that, but
Yeah.
we won't be stopping at just that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I hear you say having the right team is really important for, to bring the vision and mission of the brand together. And with that, I do have to ask you, probably putting you on the spot with this question. I know I'm going away from what you currently do back to your styling days, but that's the bit of the Bollywood fanatic in me. I do have all kinds of trivia that I seem to know about Bollywood. Don't really watch that many movies. That's crazy. So who have you enjoyed styling the most? I know you already shared both names, but is there anyone specifically that you'd like to share, or is that like?
Oh no, I don't mind. I don't mind naming my favorite actor. I think Ranveer was the best to work with. Like, I had a ball of a time every time I was working with him, because he gave, like I said, he gave you a lot of creative freedom, and he also gave you this space to be.
Mm,
It was never like there were no rules that were enforced that this is a particular way I want to look. So for a stylist, that is a dream, because you can literally, like, it's like painting on a blank canvas, right? So we could
mm,
actually try a different style every movie that we were promoting, that he was promoting. And
okay.
I feel like he was definitely fun to be with, and he's such a ball of energy. So even if you have a day where you're feeling low, you won't be leaving feeling the same way if you
Yeah.
worked with him one day. So definitely
Beautifully
him.
said. Okay, beautifully said. With that, what's a day in your life look like? What does a day in the life of a growing fashion brand look like? The founder of the growing fashion brand look like?
It's very erratic but fun. I feel like I find my pockets of like peace in the day.
Mm,
So my day usually starts around 7:45.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and I'm not a morning person. I'm trying to like inculcate that habit. So I've started yoga now because I've realized it also helps me work on my mind simultaneously. So I rush to yoga. I come back. I usually just like have breakfast, shower, rush to work. As soon as I go to work, usually the first half an hour to 1 hour is about just dividing our tasks for the day that we've already kind of done, but we're just touching base on that with like our production team and my team that works with me at office, which currently, thanks to COVID, is just my design and
Okay.
quality check team. So we kind of touch base with that. Everyone sort of moves on to doing their tasks for the day while I go back to like replying to my emails, sort of putting together my plan for the week. I have a lot of collaborations and partnerships that we're looking at right now. So
Mm.
usually it's about doing a bit of research on what is trending in the market when it comes to curve or pride representation. I like to start my day with reading a little bit because I feel
Mm.
like it kind of opens my mind up to new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And usually like it's a very positive and fun, like disorganized, sorry, organized chaos kind of day at work, because
Okay.
there are random things happening, there are people coming in, couriers leaving. Like
Mm.
some of that stuff is fun. Like I personally like to spend some time also checking on customer feedback,
Mm.
because that is like a very important aspect of a curve story, because we are doing this for our customers. So it's
Yeah.
very important to know if something we did well or did it backfire. And if it's backfired, we sort of have a strategy in place to just change it around right at that moment.
Okay.
So I kind of move around that. I've also kind of moved social media and branding in house. So that
Okay.
takes up a lot of time because like we said, like we're not building just a clothing brand. So a
Mm.
lot of the conversation needs to be in sync with how our customer base thinks.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time on that. I do spend about a day and a half in the week just creating content because Reels is the new
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So that is usually how my day looks like till about 7, 8, till I get home. Most days I try to also pack in a run or a walk
Mm.
to
Mm.
clear my head. And then I come back and I usually finish the tasks that were left undone in the day before I maybe move on to reading a book or Netflixing around about 10. I try to call it a night at 12. Doesn't happen on most days, but it's
Okay.
fun. Like it's fun. It's a lot of
Looks like a really, really packed day, but I guess, like you said, if it's fun and you're enjoying it, that's the most
it doesn't
important
feel
thing.
like work.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the best thing about starting a business that you love, right? And with that, I do want to ask you, before I let you go, I do want to ask you, what advice do you have for others who want to get started in the fashion business or have just got started?
I would like to say that people should sort of take some time and understand why they are doing what they're doing. Sort of
Mm,
define how you will be different from the crowd, because that is what is going to, at every time, set you apart from the crowd that you're in.
mm,
And also, this that no one will know your story better than you.
yeah.
So be okay with like changing tracks, like entirely like switching your plan. I mean, I've done this 100 times from the day I set my first business plan. So don't fear change, I think,
Mm,
because that's going to come in at every step. And at most times, the change may not look like what you went in expecting, but it'll always be better than what you thought. So I think just to have faith
mm.
and stick by what you believe in.
Okay, great advice. And I also would like to for you to share with us, if people need to find you, how do they find you, Akanksha? How do they connect with you? How do they buy from your brand? Can you share with the audience social coordinates and website?
Yes, of course. So our curve story is available on our website, which is www.acurvestory.com. And it's also available on our Instagram, which and our handle is @a curve story. You can also find me on Instagram by the name of Akanksha Savanal. My name is in the bio of our brand, so that makes it easier to find since I know my surname is a tricky one.
Mm. Yeah.
And we're opening international shipping next month, so that is something that should be exciting too.
Oh, nice. And with that, I wish you all the very best for your journey, because I know you're just getting started. There's a long way to go and there's so much to come for you. I wish you all the best. We'll stay connected. We'll keep following your journey. And I will also be linking your website, Instagram handle in the show notes so everybody can connect with you directly from there and shop on your website for all the sizes that they desire. And with that, Akanksha, thank you. It's been lovely having you. And yeah, I mean, it's been a fun conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to be able to share the journey with you.
Yeah,
And
and
please stay in touch.
yeah, and welcome. I mean, congrats on your first podcast. Sorry, I kind of
Thank you.
interrupted you there. Okay,
Mhm.
wait. Let's do this again. You say
Huh.
thank you, whatever. You start that.
Thank you so much for having me here and giving me time to share my story. And please do stay in touch.
Yes. And also, congratulations on your first podcast. And we'll see you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. I'm so glad I started with you. Bye.
Yes. Bye. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode and you want more, you can go to the show notes on my website, which is successwithsavita.com/podcast. If you like what you've heard so far, I would be grateful to you if you could leave me a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and share with a friend who may find this useful. You can also follow me on my Instagram at Success with Savita and DM me any questions you may have, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Until the next episode, believe in yourself and all the best to your success.
इस हब हॉपर ओरिजिनल को सुनने के लिए आपका शुक्रिया। अगर आप भी अपना पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं, तो हब हॉपर स्टूडियो वेबसाइट पे रजिस्टर करें और 1 मिनट के अंदर अंदर अपना खुद का पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करें। यही नहीं, स्टूडियो देता है आपको पूरी आजादी कहीं भी कभी भी अपना पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करने की, सिर्फ 3 आसान स्टेप्स में। तो साथ में अपना पॉडकास्ट शुरू करने के लिए तैयार? जस्ट हॉप ऑन हब हॉपर, सिंपली कंटेंट।